Show map. In our previous episodes, we traced the historical origins of the Sino-Indian border dispute, moving from the colonial cartography of the 19th century to the violent confrontation of 1962, which set the stage for modern tensions. Animate border. Today, we examine the physical transformation of the LAC, where since 2020, massive infrastructure projects have turned the high-altitude landscape into a militarized zone, fundamentally changing the strategic calculus for both India and China. Satellite image. The immediate aftermath of the 2020 Galwan Valley clash saw a permanent shift in border management, as both nations abandoned previous restraint, resulting in a race for all-weather connectivity and hardened logistics across the western sector. Archival photo. While the PRC official position claims these developments are for poverty alleviation and civilian stability, international analysts and the Indian Ministry of External Affairs have documented these projects as clear violations of the 1993 and 1996 peace agreements. Data visualization. The impact of this infrastructure shift is profound. By reducing mobilization times for heavy armor, the PLA has effectively challenged the long-standing status quo, forcing India to accelerate its own border roads organization projects significantly. Satellite image. For civilians living in these remote border regions, the construction brings new, paved roads and communication towers, yet it also brings an increased military presence that disrupts traditional grazing routes and seasonal migration patterns for local communities. Show map. Looking at the western sector, the Aksai Chin region remains the primary focus of PLA infrastructure, where satellite data identifies over 100 new military-grade structures, including hardened bunkers and underground storage facilities, built since 2020. Timeline. The legacy of these developments is etched into modern records, with the 1993 Agreement on the Maintenance of Peace and Tranquility serving as the baseline against which current, rapid-fire construction is being measured by international observers today. Infographic. A lesser-known verified fact is that the PLA has constructed over 600 Shaokong, or well-off, villages along the border since 2017, which serve as dual-use settlements providing both civilian housing and strategic surveillance outposts for the military. Data visualization. When comparing the two sides, India's border roads organization budget increased by approximately 150% between 2014 and 2023, a direct response to the rapid, large-scale engineering feats performed by the PLA across the high-altitude desert terrain. Document highlight. Modern remembrance of these events is documented through the detailed satellite analysis provided by the SAI's China Power Project, which tracks the specific growth of heliports, hangars, and supply depots along the entire length of the LAC. Archival photo. The unit legacy of the Indian Army's Engineering Corps remains central to this story, as they work in extreme, sub-zero conditions to build high-altitude roads that ensure the sovereignty of the border in the face of persistent pressure. Timeline. Key dates include the 2013 Depsang standoff, which served as the first major signal of the PLA's intent to challenge Indian infrastructure, followed by the 2017 Doklam standoff, which highlighted the strategic importance of road connectivity in tri-junction areas. Illustration. The story of infrastructure development in the Himalayas inspires modern strategic planners by demonstrating the critical role of logistics in high-altitude warfare, where the ability to move supplies often determines the success of border defense operations. Infographic. A neutral, factual takeaway is that the LAC has effectively transitioned from a disputed border into a militarized frontier, where both sides are engaged in a permanent race to build all-weather connectivity for rapid military deployment. Show map. As we close this episode, we recognize that the infrastructure buildup is not an isolated event but a foundational element of the broader, ongoing border dispute that continues to shape the security architecture of the entire Asian region. Illustration. Ultimately, the concrete being poured into the Himalayan soil today will define the geopolitical landscape for generations, serving as a silent witness to the unresolved territorial ambitions that keep the world's two most populous nations at odds. Document highlight. This investigation draws upon verified records from the Ministry of External Affairs and official PRC press releases, ensuring that every detail presented remains anchored in the documented history of this complex and evolving international border dispute. Satellite image. In the Depsang Plains, the PLA has established a persistent presence that effectively blocks Indian patrols from reaching their traditional points, utilizing new, high-capacity roads to sustain their forward positions throughout the harsh winter months. Show map. Moving to the middle sector, surveillance infrastructure has seen a marked increase, with both nations installing advanced sensor arrays and high-definition cameras to monitor movement across the relatively stable Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand border regions. Satellite image. In the eastern sector, specifically Arunachal Pradesh, the challenge is terrain, yet the PLA continues to construct massive bridges and tunnels to overcome the dense, mountainous geography that has historically hindered rapid troop movement and supply logistics. Infographic. The 2005 Protocol on Modalities for the Implementation of CBMs, which was intended to guide border management, has been rendered largely ineffective by the current, rapid-fire construction of military-grade infrastructure that ignores established protocols for mutual notification. Data visualization. Satellite analysis confirms that the PLA has upgraded multiple airfields in Tibet, extending runways and building hardened hangars to accommodate advanced fighter aircraft, which significantly enhances their ability to project power over the disputed Himalayan border. Illustration. The strategic importance of the Karakoram Pass has driven India to prioritize the completion of the Darbak-Shayakdalat-Beg Oldie Road, which provides the only reliable, year-round access for heavy military equipment to the northernmost reaches of Ladakh. Show map. China's South Tibet claim over Arunachal Pradesh is now being reinforced through the construction of model villages directly on the border, a tactic designed to create a permanent, civilian-led footprint in territory that remains under Indian administration. Satellite image. Near Pangong, the construction of a major bridge by the PLA has halved the transit time for their troops between the northern and southern banks, a direct military advantage that fundamentally changes the tactical situation on the lake. Data visualization. The Border Defense Cooperation Agreement of 2013 was designed to prevent exactly the kind of friction we see today, yet the current infrastructure race shows that both sides have prioritized tactical parity over the spirit of that agreement. Illustration. The harsh, high-altitude environment of the Aksai Chin Plateau makes road maintenance a constant, expensive battle, yet the PLA's commitment to this infrastructure indicates a long-term strategy of permanent occupation and logistical dominance over the disputed region. Show map. India's response has been to accelerate the construction of strategic tunnels, such as the Atal Tunnel, which ensures all-weather connectivity to the Ladakh region, effectively neutralizing the seasonal isolation that previously hampered military movement during the winter. Satellite image. New, hardened underground bunkers identified by satellite imagery in the Galwan region suggest that the PLA is preparing for long-term, high-intensity conflict, moving away from the temporary patrol-based friction that characterized the border for several decades. Infographic. The PRC's official position maintains that India's road construction is the primary provocation, yet historical data shows that PLA mobilization and infrastructure buildup in the region began months before the 2020 Galwan Valley clash occurred in early June. Data visualization. Fiber optic cables are being laid along the entire length of the LAC by both sides, ensuring secure, high-speed communication for frontline units, which further integrates the border zones into the national command and control networks of both countries. Satellite image. The construction of new heliports in the Demchok sector allows for rapid troop rotation and casualty evacuation, providing a significant tactical advantage in an area where the terrain makes traditional ground-based transport extremely difficult and time-consuming. Illustration. The geopolitical significance of the LAC is underscored by the fact that it separates the two largest economies in Asia, making any infrastructure development not just a local concern, but a matter of national security for both New Delhi and Beijing. Show map. The Aksai Chin region, which is claimed by India but controlled by China, acts as a critical bridge between Tibet and Xinjiang, explaining why the PRC invests so heavily in its road and rail connectivity across this high-altitude, desolate landscape. Data visualization. The sheer scale of the PLA's infrastructure buildup since 2020 is unprecedented, with satellite analysis showing a consistent pattern of dual-use development that prioritizes military utility while maintaining a veneer of civilian economic and social advancement. Satellite image. Near the Karakoram Pass, the expansion of supply depots and fuel storage facilities by the PLA indicates a focus on sustaining large-scale military operations, ensuring that their forward units are not reliant on vulnerable, long-distance supply chains. Infographic. The 1996 Agreement on Confidence-Building Measures in the Military Field was intended to reduce the risk of accidental conflict, yet the current, rapid infrastructure race makes the implementation of these measures increasingly difficult in the high-tension border zones. Illustration. The Indian government maintains that its infrastructure development is a sovereign right within its own territory, accusing China of violating the spirit of peace agreements by massing troops and building permanent military structures along the disputed border areas. Show map. China's position remains that the LAC is not clearly defined, using this ambiguity to justify its own infrastructure projects as necessary for security and development, while accusing India of illegal construction that threatens the stability of the border region. Satellite image. The deployment of advanced, long-range radar systems by the PLA along the LAC provides them with a comprehensive view of Indian military movements, a technological edge that is further supported by the extensive, high-altitude road network they have built. Data visualization. The increase in the Border Roads Organization's budget has allowed India to focus on critical, all-weather connectivity projects, which are essential for maintaining a credible deterrent against the PLA's rapid, large-scale infrastructure expansion along the LAC. Illustration. The human cost of this infrastructure race is often overlooked, with thousands of workers from both nations laboring in extreme, high-altitude conditions to build the roads and bridges that will define the future of this disputed, mountainous frontier region. Show map. The strategic bottleneck of the Depsang Plains remains one of the most sensitive areas, where the PLA's ability to control the movement of Indian patrols through their superior, localized infrastructure has created a persistent, unresolved security challenge. Satellite image. New, permanent barracks and housing facilities constructed by the PLA in the Aksai Chin region suggest a long-term commitment to maintaining a large, forward-deployed military presence that can be rapidly scaled up in the event of any border escalation. Infographic. The 1993 Agreement on the Maintenance of Peace and Tranquility remains a foundational document, yet its relevance is constantly tested by the reality of current, rapid-fire construction that prioritizes tactical military advantage over the spirit of diplomatic cooperation. Data visualization. The race to build all-weather connectivity is not just about roads, but about the integration of advanced logistics, communication, and surveillance systems that allow both nations to project power and maintain a constant, high-level readiness along the LAC. Satellite image. The construction of new, hardened hangars for unmanned aerial vehicles by the PLA allows for persistent, 24-hour surveillance of the border, a capability that significantly enhances their ability to detect and respond to any Indian military activity. Show map. The eastern sector's dense, high-rainfall terrain makes road maintenance a constant, difficult task, yet the PLA continues to invest in massive, durable infrastructure that ensures their ability to move troops and supplies throughout the year, regardless of weather. Illustration. The strategic importance of the Tri-Junction area, highlighted by the 2017 Doklam standoff, continues to drive infrastructure development, as both sides seek to secure their positions in this critical, geographically complex region of the Himalayan border. Data visualization. The rapid expansion of the PLA's Shaokong villages is a key part of their border strategy, as these settlements provide a civilian-led, permanent presence that helps to consolidate their territorial claims in the disputed high-altitude regions. Satellite image. The deployment of mobile, long-range surface-to-air missile systems by the PLA in the Aksai Chin region provides them with a significant defensive capability, further strengthening their ability to maintain control over the disputed territory against any potential threat. Infographic. The ongoing border dispute is not just about territory, but about the strategic balance of power, where infrastructure development serves as a tangible, physical manifestation of the long-term ambitions and security concerns of both India and China. Show map. As we look to the future, the continued, rapid-fire construction of military-grade infrastructure along the LAC suggests that the border will remain a zone of high tension, where any minor incident could potentially lead to a larger, more significant confrontation. Illustration. The story of infrastructure along the LAC is a testament to the enduring, complex nature of the Sino-Indian border dispute, where history, geography, and modern strategic ambitions collide in the world's most challenging and high-altitude mountain environments. Timeline. Join us in the next episode as we delve into the diplomatic efforts to resolve these tensions, examining the high-level talks and the ongoing challenges of maintaining peace along the most heavily militarized frontier in the modern world.